Hey everyone, so I think I found a nice little spot out of the wind. The wind is horrendously bad right now, which I was not expecting. Anyway though, we are in a very different area, hunting for some very different stuff today. This is a pretty unique exposure of igneous rock. Right now we're actually going to be looking for some stuff that I don't think we've ever looked for on the channel before, and that is pyroxene. We're going to be looking for peridotite. We're going to be looking for, what is it called? Bronzite. So there's some really, really cool minerals out here. Couldn't actually go to the spot that we wanted to, but we are here at a creek, and I think we're gonna find some cool stuff. I don't know. So let's do some looking, see what we can find. So unfortunately, because we are looking on a stream bed and not the actual hillside like I wanted to, these things are gonna be a little river tumbled, but I think we're still gonna be able to find some cool stuff. So if you look right here, see that little green speck right there? That is actually peridotite. And one of the other things over here is diopside, which is really cool because there are some really nice crystals out here. That's actually probably what this is, just river tumbled. And yeah, it's really, really cool. They polish really well. This is actually one of the pieces. Ooh, yeah, see all that flash right there? That is bronzite, and that is gonna be really, really cool when we polish it. Really bummed I couldn't get you guys to the other spot where the stuff is raw, so you can see its actual, you know, undamaged crystal structure, because it's some really cool stuff. So this is, again, another good example of kind of what the stuff that we're looking for. It kind of just looks like a brown rock, but when you tilt it, see that sheen in there? Cool thing about bronzite is it's kind of like tiger eye, because it has chatoyance. So when you polish it, it's really, really cool, which actually is going to be easier to make that decision with these because these are pretty weathered specimens. So I'm fine actually cutting them up. It's a little, you know, I never have the heart to do that to nice mineral specimens. So I guess it's kind of a good thing we're here at the river looking for it. Man, that wind, oh, why does it have to be so bad today? That is really pretty though. This is another thing we can find out here. I'm probably not going to keep much just because I can find it on the river as well. But this is serpentine. Some nice big sized chunks of serpentine out here. Hey, oh, okay. So, oh, thank you, Dante. Thank you for this. Thank you. Hi, pretty face. You're sitting right on top of the thing I need.
Dante.
Oh, okay, thank you. That right there is a score, and that's funny because that's not something I would ever find on the Yellowstone. That's a core sample. That's awesome. See that, Alexis?
Yeah.
It's a core drill.
Down from a mine?
Yeah, we are right by a mine. So that's probably where it came from. But that's kind of funny to find a core sample along the river. So this right here, I think we're going to make a cabochon out of that. That's going to be really cool. Again, I'm more okay cutting pieces like this up because it's so weathered. I wanted to get some of those nice specimens, but we just literally can't. Ooh. Yeah, look at that bronzite. That is really cool. That is super cool. But yeah, we just literally can't get over there right now. That right there is really cool. So all of those little individual crystals are actually bronzite. And that is gonna be really cool. There's actually a little bit of peridotite inside of that green right there. This rock right here might just be fun to cut some slabs off. That is super busy. I kind of like that. It's mostly bronzite, but I can tell there's some peridotite in there. Just so very, very different from pretty much everything else you'll find in this 200-mile radius in Montana. Very, very different stuff. Man, I would love to get better shots of this, but I definitely am not going to be able to with my other camera with how windy it is. So I'll get close-ups back at the shop, but man, this one has some serious color inside of that bronzite. I actually see some green from the peridotite. That actually might be from the diopside. This stuff with the polish is so cool. I have literally never shown you guys this material before, so this is a first for the channel. It's cool that we can still have those in Montana, not far from home, after 4 years of having a channel. All right, so I just saw a broken rock and a glimmer, and I definitely want to look a little closer at this. Oh, wow, yeah. Now that is some nice stuff. That is a pretty big pocket of that bronzite. Oh yeah, oh wait, trying to get it to flash. There we go. That might be really cool. If we cut that properly, that might really be pretty. There's another piece. You know what, I'm right by the water. I'm gonna just get this wet really quick. This was the other one. Oh, that's like that whole face. Ooh, okay, one sec. Let me get these wet. All right, those just came out of the water. Wow, look at the color. That's almost like Labradorite. This stuff is awesome. I've never really found a whole lot of it. And the stuff that I have found has been like, most of it anyway, has been more of that higher end stuff, like specimen, that I don't really want to cut up. But man, I think these ones, considering they're already really weathered, this might be perfect for, you know, cutting and polishing. Oh my gosh, look at that flash. That is so cool. Wow. Yep, that one's coming back with us. Looks like it's going to be mostly the bronzite down over here. The other place I wanted to go to has more of the, oh, look at that. Now that is some serpentine right there. Wow. I actually probably am going to keep that one. That's super pretty. Anyway, though, the other place you can find way more of the peridotite and the diopside, which I'm kind of bummed we're not seeing any of that, because that stuff is gorgeous. Man, I'm sorry about the wind, guys. It was not supposed to be this windy today, but again, I guess that's just typical Montana spring for you. The weather changes so dang fast over here. Hot photos. Hot photos. Hey, here's an example. It is pretty weathered also. I really wish I could get closer on the other camera, but the wind is not going to cooperate long enough to do that. I'll show you back at the shop regardless, but all of those little granules are actually that diopside. And those are really, really pretty. They actually have a green color. All right, guys. Well, I think that's about all the time I have. So I'm going to head somewhere where it's less windy. And yeah, I'll see you guys back at the shop, get everything cleaned up, and cut some and polish some, because they're really, really cool. We are back, and I have everything cleaned up. But before we start looking at some of the rocks, I wanted to actually talk about the geologic history of the area, because I think it's fascinating. These rocks all came from a geologic exposure known as the Stillwater Igneous Complex. And the Stillwater Igneous Complex is a very unique exposure because it is dated back to the Archean eon, which is means they're literally some of the oldest rocks on Earth. Archean rocks are actually fairly rare because of thermal processes that are required to create rock. So a lot of the Archean rock has actually broken down or been reabsorbed into the earth at one point or another. Put that in perspective, the Archean is old to the point where that's the eon where the earliest life on Earth was starting to form, like stromatolites and microbes that's when they were starting to show up. It is old, old, old. But the Stillwater Igneous Complex in particular is pretty cool because it is very high in chromium, and it was actually mined in the past for that chromium, but now it's mined extensively for palladium and platinum, which is really cool to think that this stuff right here is, a lot of it is actually platinum ore. But it's also home to a lot of minerals that are not common in Montana, at least in the slightest, like bronzite and the chrome diopside, and even peridot in Montana is very, very, very uncommon, and we have that in the Stillwater Igneous Complex. So yeah, long story short, it's a very unique formation. If you want to read up more about it, I would highly recommend it because I barely scratched the surface. It's a really, really unique complex. All right, there's some science for you. Now let's look at some rock. All right, so I'm gonna show more later in the video, but I wanted to grab a few out because A, I just wanted to show some examples of what we're talking about, but B, I think we're gonna work with some of these. I think it would be fun to cut and polish some. Cut and or polish, I'll add. This is a piece of that diopside. It's different seeing them all tumbled like this, river tumbled. You can see with the broken faces, that's what it normally looks like. But you get a light on it, and it's so cool. It just glows green. It's so cool. Come on, focus. Such pretty stuff. This one actually has not just the diopside, but this one actually has the olivine in it as well. You can see just how dark green some of those are. You can see some of that dark right there in the center. It's just such cool stuff. Love, love, love finding it. It's really a bummer that we couldn't go to the spot where it's not river tumbled, but I'm honestly kind of happy at the same time because I don't have to feel guilty about working with it because it's not in the best shape. As you can see, this is extremely worn in a weird way. There's that flash for you. Because it has been river tumbled. So these aren't like specimen grade, but they're great for cutting and polishing. Just how pretty this stuff is. Look at that flash. It literally, it's hard to, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up the right way, but in person it literally just looks just like Labradorite. And that, I believe, is the Bronzite. I think this was one of our nicest ones as far as the Bronzite. Look how flashy that is. The other ones have little pockets of the Bronzite. Here, I'm gonna zoom out a little. But this one is just solid all the way through, front and back. It's so cool. It straight up looks like Labradorite. I know I've said that multiple times now, but it's just shocking. Looks like Labradorite in Montana. It doesn't feel right. Also, those little black crystals in between, in the middle, I think I have a better example here somewhere. Yeah, so here's a better example of all of the minerals that we're finding. So we've got the Bronzite in there. You can see this one actually has some of that olivine, but the dark black crystals are actually augite, which is pretty cool. All right, so my plan is to cut and polish some because I think it would be really, really cool, because this one, like right here, is going to look radically different on the inside. I can already tell, because you can see it has a lot of that Bronzite and augite, so hoping for some cool flashiness, but I also really want to see some of that flashy Bronzite polish. So I think first, we're actually going to start with this tiny little one right here for a very specific reason. The other ones are all flashing that gold tone. This one is flashing almost a closer color to merlinite. It's kind of that grayish, kind of, in the right light, it's kind of a purpley tone. And I think that would be so pretty if we can polish it. So I guess let's head on over to the flat lap and find out. Also, it goes all the way around. That result is wildly different than I was expecting. That stone is flippin' beautiful, for starters. See that green? Super, super dark. Get the flashlight a little closer. Yeah, you can see that green. It kind of has chatoyance as well. You can see it flaring down there. I don't think that would be the olivine. I don't think olivine would do that for obvious reasons. But wow, that is weird stuff. It is far softer than I expected. Did not think, oh yeah, you can see it flashing, where was it? There it is, yeah. That's beautiful. It's so weird though, it does not behave the way I was expecting it to. The layers are very, very soft and thin, so this actually kind of, only in this one instance, but it kind of reminds me of amylite. The amylite, because of the layers are so thin, it really, really does not like mesh plates like from a flat lap. So I'm kind of wondering if we were to polish one on the faceting machine with the hard diamond plates, how different our result would be. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to do one of these just because the texture is all over the place and I'm not honestly sure what to expect. It'll be a good indicator for what this big one is going to look like. Okay, so I polished those three, and the tests are fairly conclusive, I think. Here's the one that I polished just to see what it's going to look like. And it's weird. It's chatoyant in some places. The diopside took a much nicer polish than the surrounding material. But that's really cool. I think that's really pretty. But alright, here's the real test. And yes, for this material, it would seem that the faceting machine is the way to go. That hard diamonds allowed a much more uniform polish than the flat lap did. It looks much better on those spots that flash. So for future reference, I know to use the faceting machine similar to how I would prep amylite. Alright, so next I really want to cut some of these bigger ones because I think they're going to look really, really cool. This one right here, this whole face is flash. So if I can get it to cut the way I want to, I think that'll be awesome. I have no idea what to expect from this thing. It flashes in some spots, it doesn't in others. So I'm thinking a slab or two of this might look crazy. So I think I'm gonna start with this one. All right, it's loaded up. Let's see what we get. Okay, this stuff is freaking cool. Look at this. Look how flashy it is. And there's actually multiple rocks that are chatoyant in here. So we've got the augite that is that silvery tone, and then the bronzite shut up phone is the gold. I don't know what it is about this stuff, but I'm thoroughly enthralled by this material. It is awesome. Look at that. That is so cool. I think I'm gonna load this one next. I really don't want a slab off of this. I just want to flatten this face. So I'm hoping I can load it in a way where it cooperates. I don't need it to hold much, but man, it's kind of an awkward shape to load it in the way I want to. That is stunning. Look how flashy that is. Let me find the right angle. There's an angle where the whole thing just turns, yeah, look at that. And it reminds me so very much of Labradorite. I think I need to polish this. My brain is telling me that this needs to have a face polish. Probably go back and get a better polish. It's weird, the soft material of the bronzite doesn't really polish as well. I mean, you can see all the harder stuff that's like super shiny. But check this out. That is beautiful. And just like Labradorite, this is tricky to get good shots of. There we go. You gotta find the right angle. That is beautiful. I seriously love this stuff. This is amazing. I might want to go grab just a little bit more of this material at some point, because it's very, very, very pretty and it's fun to work with. I like it a lot. Alright guys, well I think that is going to do it for this one. I am so impressed with this material. It's actually way cooler than I gave it credit for. Not that I always knew it was cool, but it's even cooler than I was expecting. I'm bummed we couldn't go to the spot where you can get like really, really fresh specimens, but honestly I'm kind of happier that way because I feel less bad cutting up you know, river tumbled specimens. They're not really specimen grade anymore, so yeah, they're perfectly fine to play with. Let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments. I think this one is probably mine, but I haven't worked with any more yet, so that is subject to change. Man, there's just some amazing geologic history behind these rocks. Side note, I don't know when this video is coming out, but that being said, the river is no longer huntable in the slightest. Runoff is here, which means we have entered the season of digging. So look forward to some fossil hunts, some crystal hunts, and other stuff. I'm sure we'll find something else to do. I'll have various links to various things up in the description, but yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.